Good evening, everyone. So today, I am discussing all about Module 11, which is Life Support Systems. But before that, let's have an introduction. Continue studying the modules and see how wonderful the human machine is. Keep in touch is a line that you may have used many times before. This means that you want to connect with your relatives and with your friends. Have you ever thought of how your body communicates with itself or the outside world? Today, we will have a chance to know how our nervous system, how our sense organs, how our endocrine system functions to our body, in which it is the reason why we react and act that manner. So our content topics for today are three. So the first one would be the nervous system, the second one is the sense organs, and the third one is our endocrine system. Our objectives for today are, after going through to this module, you are expected to discuss the functions of our nervous system, name the three parts that compose the nervous system and discuss their functions, distinguish between stimulus and response, identify the organs that assist the nervous system, describe a neuron, discuss the human sense organs, identify sense organs of the human body, discuss the function of each sense organs, give the function of our endocrine system, identify the glands and the roles that they play in the human body, and lastly, to describe the hormones and their actions. So today, we will be able to move on to our discussion. And the first one to discuss is our nervous system. So I'm going to show you picture, and the picture depicts neuron. Our body has composed of billions of neurons, and the basic unit of our nervous system is nerve cell. Nerve cells are also called as neurons. Some exist alone or sa kani-kanila lang, at ang iba naman ay nagsasama-sama upang makabuo ng mga organs like the brain and our spinal cord. In fact, there are 12 to 14 billions of neurons in one part of our brain. Imagine that. Yet, no two neurons are alike. So, ibig sabihin, kahit na napakadami ng neurons, hindi sila pare-pareho. They vary in size and shape. Pero, ang mga neurons daw is mayroong common structure. A neuron has a cell body containing the nucleus. Projecting out from the cell body are the root-like threads, and these are the dendrites and the axon. And now, I am going to show you a picture of a nerve cell which contains the axon and the dendrites. So, the first one to discuss would be the dendrite. Dendrites carry impulses towards the cell body. A cell may have as many as 200 dendrites carrying impulses toward the cell body. A single dendrite can be over 1 meter long, and axons naman, it carry impulses away or palayo from our body. Axon pass impulses to the dendrites of the other neurons. So now, we will go on to the stimulus and response. Stimulus, or in plural, it is states as stimuli, is any information received by the nervous system about a condition in the environment. The nervous system also receives information about the conditions inside the body. In order to survive an organism, there must be able to receive stimuli from inside and outside of our body. So, kailangan daw na magkaroon tayo or makareceive tayo ng information in order for us to survive. For example, meron na ahas na nakitang ahas Tapos yung ahas is tutuklawin ka. So na-perceive ng brain mo na ay kakagatin ako ng ahas. Tapos dito naman papasok yung response. Response is a reaction to a condition of a stimulus. A stimulus is a reaction of the body and a response is made. To survive an organism, there must be a response to stimulus. So sa response naman, ito naman yung action na gagawin mo. And para daw tayo makasurvive, yung organism kailangan mag-response tayo sa stimulus. Eh di kanina, nandun na tayo sa tutuklawin ka ng ahas. Anong gagawin mo? Syempre, ang response mo, lalayo ka or tatakbo ka away doon sa ahas. Kaya, yun yung tinatawag na response. If walang stimulus and response, ibig sabihin, makakagat ka na ng ahas, hindi mo pa alam yung gagawin mo, or wala kang gagawin, hindi ka gagalaw, or kapag naman hindi ka nag-response, edi matutuklaw ka ng ahas. Then that's it. A stimulus causes a response. So, ang ating nervous system is assisted by the 5 organs. Our eyes, nose, tongue, and our skin. The sense organs is constantly receiving information from the environment and sending messages to the brain. So, through our sense organs, nakaka-receive tayo ng information tungkol dun sa environment na ating ginagalawan at yun naman yung magsasend ng messages sa ating brain. So, the nerve impulses naman. So, neurons are cells with special ability to carry signal or impulses. It may be difficult to believe but thoughts, emotions, learning, and many body functions are controlled by nerve impulses. So, maaaring yung mga iniisip natin, yung mga emotions na nakikita natin, yung mga pagkatuto, yung kung paano gumagalaw yung mga katawan natin, yun ay nakokontrol ng nerve impulses. And yung nerve impulses na yon are carried by the neuron. A nerve impulses is a combination of an electrical charge and a chemical reaction. A nerve impulse is not flow of electricity. It is more correct to say that a nerve impulse is an electrochemical charge moving along the neuron. The nerve impulse cannot jump from one neuron to another. The space between neurons is called synapse. When a nerve impulse comes to an end of an axon, it causes a chemical to be released or nilalabas. The chemical crosses the synapse and stimulates the nerve impulse to start the next dendrite. Ang mission niya daw is to control our body. And our nervous system is consist of our brain, our spinal cord, and many nerves. These organs and tissues form a complex communication network that can send messages very fast and very efficient. The function of the nervous system is to keep life support functioning together. So, ang function ng nervous system is para, yun nga, para makapag-deliver siya ng mga messages at makasupport siya sa ating pamumuhay. Kasi without the use of it, kumbaga, mawawala ng sense yung buhay natin kasi wala tayo na pagkatuto, yung mga emotions, or ganun din yung hindi tayo mabubuhay kasi pwedeng nandiyan na yung panganib, hindi wala pa tayong gagawin kasi wala naman tayong response or stimulus na mararamdaman. Now you know why different carry messages from the brain to the toe and from the brain. Messages do not travel in both directions along the same neuron. So, hindi siya nagtatravel ng both directions or magkasabay na direction. Only the axon of the neuron gives off the chemical that crosses the space between the neurons. So, here's the picture of our brain, and there are parts of our brain. The brain is the main control center of coordination. It is about size of a small head of a cauliflower. The brain weighs 1.4 kilograms. And actually, there are 3 areas, and these are cerebellum, cerebrum, and the medulla oblongata. Each area of the brain controls a specific activity. The cerebrum is the center of intelligence, or doon na pupunta yung mga talino natin, yung pagkatuto natin. The cerebellum keeps the muscles coordinated. So, yung mga muscle natin, nagiging coordinated or nag-function siya well because of the cerebellum. And the medulla oblongata controls and coordinates the activities of the internal organs. So, ang medulla oblongata naman is for the internal organs of our body, in which yung mga internal organs natin nagiging coordinate siya or nakokontrol siya through medulla oblongata. So, ang next naman natin is the spinal cord. The spinal cord extends down from the medulla. So, from the medulla oblongata, that is part of our brain, yung spinal cord naman is nag-extend siya simula doon, pababa. It is an organ made up of tightly packed neurons, which mostly connecting neurons. It is about 45 centimeters long, and it is tapered at both ends. So, nasa likod natin yung spinal cord natin. Tapos, siya is yung pababa, yung parang bone na ating makakapa dito sa likod natin. The spinal cord runs down person back and is surrounded by the rings of each vertebra. The spinal cord has two functions. The first one, it carries nerve impulses from over all of our body and from the brain. So, ang first na katangian niya is siya yung nag-carry ng mga impulses na nararamdaman natin patungo sa parts of our body at papunta dun sa brain natin. Second naman is nagkokontrol siya ng mga body's involuntary actions. So, ang involuntary action is a movement that does not require any thought or interpretation. So, ang involuntary action naman is hindi na kailangan na magkaroon ng interpretation pa kapag kaganon. The brain and spinal cord made up of central switchboard or coordinating center of the nervous system, in which ang nangyayari dito, it is here that messages are interpreted na. These are nerves that branches off from the spinal cord. These nerves fed information to the brain and the spinal cord that carry messages from them. Any message received by your body must go to the brain before you can react to it. So, lahat daw na pumapasok sa ating informations or nare-receive ng ating katawan, kailangan muna na makapunta yun sa ating brain bago tayo makapag-react or bago tayo magkaroon ng corresponding action between doon. So imagine when someone is striking you stone or something. Minsan hindi ka na mag-iisip eh. Kasi kapag alam mo na tatamaan ka, iiwas ko or igaganon mo yung kamay mo para hindi ka tamaan. And those quick reactions are called reflexes. Or hindi mo na kailangan na makaakyat pa sa brain mo na ay kailangan kong lumayo para hindi ako tamaan, or kailangan kong tumakbo para hindi ako matamaan nun, or hindi ko na kailangang yung kamay ko itaas para wag akong tamaan. So, minsan hindi na natin ginagamit yung utak natin kasi ang nangyayari is close na agad na biglang alam na natin yung gagawin. So, like this naman. For example, kapag nakahawak tayo sa isang mainit na bagay. So, ang finger natin marireceive na mainit ang isang bagay. Ang message na yun mag-goes up sa ating arms, papunta sa ating nerve cells, and dun sa mga body pathways natin. Tapos, yung message na yun magre-reach and mag-enter sa spinal cord natin. And then, the messages leaves the spinal cord by a way of different nerve pathways. So, the message daw is magko-contract yun sa arm muscle, and then, ang mangyayari doon is ilalayo mo yung kamay mo. Tapos, kailangan mo tataan na ang reflexes are involuntary actions or yung quick reactions that help you protect from harm. The central nervous system includes the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system includes all the nerves carrying the signals to and from the brain and spinal cord. Both divisions have neuroglia cell which protects and assists neurons. So our nervous system is divided into two. The first one was the somatic and the second one is the autonomic. The somatic is concerned with the movements of the trunk, head, and limbs. Its sensory axon carries inward from receptors in the skin, skeletal muscles, and tendons, while its motor axons carry signal out of the body's skeletal muscles. So, kapag ka naman autonomic system, it deals with the visceral portion of the body, that is the internal organs and structures. Its sensory and motor axon carry signal from and to smooth muscles, cardiac heart muscle, and the different regions inside our body. The autonomic nervous system is entirely involuntary and automatic. It is composed of two parts, which is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So now we will move on to the sympathetic. It is composed of two parts in which it is called the sympathetic system. This system includes two rows of nerve tissues or cords which lie on either side of the spinal column. Each cord has ganglia which contains of bodies of neurons. Fibers form the sympathetic ganglia. Nerve cords enter the spinal cord and connects it with the brain as well as one another. Then the next one is the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic opposes the sympathetic system and thus maintains a system of checks and balance. So parasympathetic naman is for balances. And the principal nerves of parasympathetic is the vagus nerve and abdomen. So now we will move on to the sense organs. So the first sense organ is the ear. So this is the ear and it is composed of different parts. So ganito naman, ang ear naman natin is nagde-detect ng sound waves para makarinig tayo. Sound waves are the air molecules in motion. Do you know how the ears detect moving air molecules and enable you to hear? So, paano nga ba? Ang human ear is divided into three areas, and then is the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. So, let's try to look at the figure. So, the pinna or the air lip catches sound waves and helps direct this to a narrow tube. The pinna is made of cartilage. It is soft and bends easily. So, ang cartilage is, try to point out the tip of your nose. That is the cartilage. It's like soft. Tapos ay, yung pinna naman is, para siya yung nagka-catch ng mga sound waves. Para sa gayon is, magdadaan siya sa narrow tube natin. Then the next one is a narrow tube leads into the ear. This tube is the ear canal. So, from the picture, makikita natin yung outer ear flap or the pinna, tapos yung ear canal. This is a part of the ear that carries sound waves to the middle ear. So, di siya yung part ng outer ear. Ang mangyayari doon, yung ear canal na yon, siya yung doon magke-carried out yung sound waves papunta doon sa middle ear. So, the next one is sound waves which pass through the ear canal bump against a thin membrane called the eardrum. When sound wave strikes the eardrum, this vibrates back and forth. So, syempre yung sound waves na yun, magpapass through siya dun sa ear canal. Tapos, babangga daw siya dun against sa thin membrane, which is called eardrum. Pag daw nag-strike or bumangga yung sound waves na yun, yung dun sa ating eardrum, magkakaroon daw ng vibration back and forth. Tapos, ang mangyayari naman dun is, three small bones makes up one of the main parts of the middle ear. Due to the shapes of the bones are called the hammer. So, dahil mukha siya na hammer, it is called hammer, anvil, and stirrup. These bones are small and connected to one another. So, yung mga bones na yun is connected siya sa isa't isa. Tapos ay, when eardrum vibrates, pag daw yung eardrum natin is nagkaroon ng vibration back and forth, yung daw hammer na yon is magmo-move. This movement causes the outer two bones to move. So, magkakaroon ng movement between sa anvil and stirrup. The stirrup is connected to another main membrane, the oval window. The oval window is a membrane in the middle ear that vibrates with the motion of the ear of the bones. The inner ear has two main parts. This part of the ear is called cochlea. It looks like a small shell. So makikita natin dyan is yung parang paikot. Yun yung tinatawag na cochlea, which is like shell na puno daw ng liquid. It is a coiled chamber that contains nerve cell. So, nandun naman yung nerve cell natin, yung sa cochlea na yon. When the oval window vibrates, it makes the liquid in the cochlea move. So, nagkakaroon pala ng pag-move ng liquid if the cochlea is moving. The nerve cells in the cochlea detect this movement. So, yun daw ay madedetect ng ating cochlea. Each nerve cell in the cochlea is connected to a large nerves, the auditory nerves. So, nakakonect daw yun sa ating large nerve, which causes the auditory nerve. The auditory nerve carries messages of the sound to the brain. Yung auditory nerve na yun, yung magdadala ng sound ng messages and sound doon sa ating brain. Once these messages reach the brain, they are interpreted. This is the final step in hearing. You hear a person singing, cat meowing, or some other sound. So, due to that, nagkakaroon tayo ng pandinig or nakakarinig tayo ng iba't ibang sounds. So, the next one is the eyes, which you can see there, the parts of the eyes. So, the eyelids is found outside the eyes are for protection or moistening. So, yun naman is for, of course, di ba kita nyo dito yung parang medyo liquid siya. Yun yung tinatawag na, na eyelids. Kapag ka nag-blink kayo, mararamdaman nyo yung liquid na yun nag-spread over front of your eyes. So, the next one is the sclera. So, what is the sclera? It is the white outer covering of the eye. It protects and holds the eye together. So, siya naman yung nagpaprotekta at nag-hold nung ating mga mata na maging together. The iris naman is a muscle. It adjusts the amount of light entering the eye. It is the part of the eye that gives eye color. So, siya naman yung dahilan kung bakit may color ang eye natin. At saka ina-adjust niya yung mga light na pwedeng makapasok sa mata natin. The pupil naman is an opening in the center of the iris. Light enters the eye through the pupil. As the amount of light varies, the size of the iris changes. Kapag ka naman daw, iba't ibang size yung or iba't ibang amount ng light yung pumapasok sa mata natin, yun daw yung nagdahilan kung bakit yung iris natin is nagkakaroon ng changes. This causes the pupil to become large or small. So, yun naman daw yung dahilan kung bakit lumiliit or lumalaki yung ating iris. This is the reason why we can see in the dark. So, imagine kapag minsan madilim, kahit madilim, nakakakita ka or parang nakakaaninaw ka or nakakaaninag ng konti. The cornea is the outer covering at the front of the eye. It has two functions. It is allowing of light enter the eye through the pupil. So, siya naman yung nag-aalaw para makapasok yung light sa ating pupil. At siya din naman yung nambebend ng light kapag pumasok ito sa ating eye, that object will be focused in. So, next is the lens. The lens muscle attaches to the lens. It pulls on the lens and changes its shape. This helps you to see up close and far away. So, yun naman yung may dahilan kung bakit nakakakita tayo kahit malayo or malapit. The retina. It is a structure in the eye made of light-detecting nerve cells. So, through that, nakaka-detect tayo ng mga light. The vertebrous humor is a liquid inside eye. So, yun naman ay liquid din. Para lang din siyang eyelids. But its main work is to give eye its round shape. The optic nerve is a nerve that carries messages from the retina to the brain. When a message received reaches to our vision center of the brain, nagkakaroon ng interpretation, tapos the brain flips the message right side up. So now we will move on with the tongue. The major sense organ for the taste is the tongue. It detects chemicals in the mouth. As the tongue senses different chemicals, you can taste the sweetness of the sugar, the bitterness of the ampalaya. So the moment na may mag-touch sa ating mouth or makaano tayo ng chemicals, nagkakaroon ng reaction doon which causes na may malasahan tayo. Notice that the surface of our tongue has many bumps. So, try to look at the mirror and see na may mga bumps doon sa ating tongue. These bumps are called taste buds. So, yung taste buds na yon is question ng nerve cell in tongue para makadetect ng chemicals. You have about 10,000 taste buds on the surface of your tongue. So, it shows the 4 different kinds of taste buds on our tongue. Each kind is located in a different area of our tongue. And each area of the tongue detects a certain chemical or taste. The 4 tastes are the sour, salty, sweet, and bitter. So, but you know that there are more than 4 tastes. These are just combined of 4 basic tastes. So, have you ever experienced having a cold or like nagkaroon kayo ng sipon, tapos or kaya ubo, tapos nagkaroon kayo ng trouble tasting about dun sa mga pagkain kasi meron kayong colds. Tapos, yung sense natin at for taste and smell, pareho kasi yon. Di ba kapag ka may sipon tayo, hindi natin maamoy or maamoy ng maayos yung mga niluto or kung ano-ano. Kasi both sila na nagwo-work together. They both detect chemicals. Your sense of smell enables you to detect chemicals in the air or odors. Chemicals in the form of gas are detected by neurons. These neurons line on top of the nasal chamber. These are different types of the nerve cell in the nose. Each type detects one kind of chemical or odor. The olfactory nerve then carries the message to smell to your brain. The brain interprets the message as smoke or perfume or some other odor. So, di ba kapag halimbawa nakaamoy tayo ng perfume, like, for example, ang amoy niya is matamis or a kind of honey, like that. The brain perceive na yung naamoy natin is like pang honeybee na cologne. So, na-identify natin na it's like honeybee. Then, the next one is our skin. The nerve cell detect pain, pressure, touch, heat, and cold. Observe the most nerve cells are found in the dermis. Only nerve cells that detect pain are found in both epidermis and dermis. So, yung pain daw na nararamdaman natin is, ang nakakadetect nun, halimbawa, physically, is nasaktan tayo. Ang makakadetect nun is the epidermis and the dermis. Which is, kapag halimbawa, tayo ay nasaktan sa isang bagay, ang nangyayari dun is yung skin natin yung magpa-perceive, which is mag-aano siya sa nerve cells bago tayo masaktan. Your skin functions is not only for protection but it is also for sense organs, like what I have said. Each nerve cell detects different condition and only nerve cell detect that sense organ. The next one would be our endocrine system. Animals have an additional system for sending messages through their bodies. It uses chemical form in a special glands. Blood is used as a pathway for delivering these chemical passages through your body. The second system is that allows different parts of your body to keep in touch is called the endocrine system. The endocrine system is made up of small glands that make special chemicals for carrying messages through the body. The glands are found throughout your body. The chemicals made by the endocrine the glands are called the hormones. Hormones found in your blood. Once in the blood, hormones trouble different organs of the body. Changes takes place in the organs when they receive the chemical chain messages that hormones carry. So, ang mangyayari kasi doon is, 'di ba, minsan sinasabi na mga nagbabago yung hormones kaya may mga pagbabago sa katawan natin. So, the endocrine system is responsible for that. The exocrine gland makes secretion that travels through a tiny tube called duct. The duct carry the secretions to where they are to go. The endocrine gland makes a secretion that does not travel through duct. Endocrine glands don't have familiar shapes like heart, lung, brain, or the kidney. Endocrine glands are not very large either. Altogether, they have a mass about 140 grams. Hormones controlled by regulation. A hormone is a special and actually it is comes from the Greek word that means to excite. In fact, that's exactly what hormone does. A hormone excites or turns out the body activity. Hormones do their job for regulation. When something is regulated by hormones, it keeps in balance or in a constant state or homeostasis. Hormones are regularly nearly all activities in your body. These are an ideal constant state or homeostasis. For example, body metabolism, growth, and blood pressure must be kept at constant states. So, yung blood pressure natin, yung growth, yung body metabolism, it is controlled by our hormones. There are many bodily activities are kept constant state by hormones. Hormones keep many of our body activities at homeostasis by regulation. So now, we will go to the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is located at the bottom of our neck and secretes thyroid hormone. The thyroid hormone regulates metabolism or the release of energy through our body. So, yung thyroid gland daw yun, naglalabas yun ng thyroid hormones. So, di ba meron na yung kapag kakulang tayo sa ganun is kailangan natin ng iodine. Parathyroid glands. They are located in the thyroid glands, two on each side. The parathyroid glands secrete a parathyroid hormone and calcitonin. So, ang calcitonin naman siya is yung nagsisecrete naman siya ng calcium. Normally, ang calcium is important para sa matibay nating buto and construction of muscles. Then now, we will move on to the adrenal gland. Move to the lower part of the abdomen and locate the adrenal glands. There are two adrenal glands, one in top of each kidney, and the adrenal gland secretes adrenaline, which is called emergency hormone. So, have you ever experienced that there are emergencies happened in you, tapos ay may nagawa ka na hindi mo ina-expect? Halimbawa is, kapag ka meron na sunog, nabuhat mo yung ref nyo ng mag-isa. So, yon ang gumana dun is nagkaroon tayo ng adrenaline rush. So, ang ini-excrete nyo kasi na adrenal is the adrenaline. Which is kapag ka may mga extra activities tayo nagagawa na hindi natin inaakalang kaya natin gawin. Adrenaline daw causes our heart to beat faster, the blood pressure to go up, and extra sugar to be burned for energy. So, siya naman yung nagbibigay na energy para mas madami tayo na ma-burn na extra energy, yung sugar na nakikep ng insulin natin. So, ang nangyayari naman din sa kanya is kapag ka nananervyos kapag kagalit or kapag takot. Adrenal glands yung may gawa nun. Tapos, next is the pancreas. The pancreas just lie below our stomach. The pancreas make both digestive chemicals and hormones. The pancreas makes the hormone insulin and glucagon. Insulin regulates the burning of sugar and helps the liver store excess energy. Insulin controls the ability to cell to allow sugar to pass through its cell membrane. So, yung insulin naman natin is kailangan natin yun for energy. And yung sa glucose. Tapos naman yung insulin is, siya naman yung para sa ating sugar. So, kapag daw kakaunti yung insulin na isinesikret ng taon, nagkakaroon siya ng diabetes. So, kaya ang nangyayari is, parang nagtuturok yata po sila ng insulin in order to survive or hindi sila magkaroon ng diabetes. So now we will move on to the sex glands. The sex glands are the ovaries in the female and the testes in the male. The ovaries secretes female hormones while the testes secrete male sex hormones. Female sex hormones are the estrogen or the progesterone, cause girls at the puberty to develop female characteristics. Female sex characteristics cause the breast to enlarge, the hips to be broadened, and the hair to grow on the body. So, due to the sex hormones, nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa katawan ng mga kababaihan dahil sa estrogen and the progesterone. Ang nangyayari is lumalaki yung breast, lumalapad yung hips, at saka nagkakaroon or nade-develop yung mga hair na tumutubo sa katawan. Then the next one is the male sex hormones, and that is the androgen and the testosterone. Cause a boy at the puberty to develop male sex characteristics. So, yun naman is para ma-develop yung characteristics ng mga lalaki. Male sex hormones cause their bodies to deepen. So, ang nangyayari doon is parang nagiging lagom yung boses, yung shoulders, nagiging broad, tapos ay nagkakaroon din ng pag-grow sa kanilang ng hair sa kanilang mga faces and sa kanilang body. For example, yung bigote, nade-develop, ganon. So, the last is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized organ tucked away at the base of the brain. So, the pituitary gland secretes several hormones, many of which regulate the activities of the other glands. For this reason, pituitary gland is called the master gland. The pituitary gland is like a conductor of an orchestra. As a conductor, and they control the various body functions, and it stimulates another gland with the hormone. The stimulated gland secretes hormone to do its own work. And it stimulates the thyroid, the adrenal, and the sex gland to regulate or to release the hormones balancedly. It also secretes skin color or yung mga kulay natin and regulates the growth of hormone. So for our abstraction, there is a nervous system which keeps us in touch with everything. That is the special cells. These cells help us to communicate with the other parts of our body. So there are levels of organization, the cell, the tissue, and the organ. So the example of the cell is the neuron. The example of the tissue is the nerves, and the organ example is the brain and the spinal cord. The human body has many sense organs, including the ear, the eyes, the nose, the skin, and the tongue. And the eyes detects light, the nose and tongue detects chemical, the skin detects heat and cold, touch, and pressure. So now the other one is the pineal gland. It's a small pine cone shaped structure located on the upper back of the stimulus of the brain. The pineal gland produces a hormone called melatonin, which is thought to inhibit the functions of reproductive system. Melatonin play an important role in onset of the puberty in humans. A hormone is a chemical substance made by a gland, secreted directly into the bloodstream, that acts as a chemical messenger, then excites our body activity, and it also controls our regulation. So now, that's all for today. Thank you and God bless.